Hey there, my little bunny rabbits. How are you guys this week? The reason why I'm calling you bunny rabbits is because I have been seeing bunny rabbits when I was tuning into you guys. This feels like a very specific message, perhaps for a very specific person, hopefully more. And hopefully there's going to be parts of it that you will resonate with regardless. But here's what I saw before I ever pulled cards. I saw a little rabbit pointed left, and its body was in a square box and its head was sticking out. Left for me usually represents things kind of stuck, going backwards, not really the direction we normally want to go in. And what I heard 2 times was boundaries in group. So we'll get around to it. We'll bring that full circle. There is something going on that you're grappling with, struggling with, internally, behind the scenes, and it's affecting how you're connecting with people. It may be a specific group, it may be just people in general. But what I saw after that was I saw you come into my mind's eye, and instead of boogieing your butt to the right, which is what I always want to see, but nobody ever does because that's what we're here for, to work on our shadows, you turned left just like a step or two, turned right back around facing me, and you were staring at a giant screen suspended in midair, like there was an invisible wall. You were all lit up, and that for me, it very much felt the energy when I was in your body was, I'm happy in this little bubble watching TV. Now, this could be tuning out on your computer screen or your cell phone or tuning out in another way. The TV could just be a representation of the endless ways that we can check out as humans, and all of us do it. But this may be very specific to one of you, that it's actually like TV watching that you're kind of tuning out to. They're wanting you, like I can feel this, I could feel it all like building up today, that there is a lot inside of you. You have so much to offer this world and are so much more than you realize. And even if you do realize that, it feels like those things aren't being acted upon, that there's some kind of blockage, that you're, maybe you've been through a really tough stuff and you're just feeling defeated, or you've been hurt by people, or you've built up, these walls around you. It could be a million things, but there's something about checking out and putting your energy just into numbing. And what they showed me what I always ask, all right, so what should it look like? What's the potential here? What are you trying to encourage them toward? Excuse me. And I saw this pathway open up to the right. And I usually see like some kind of star image or some kind of mountain peak. And that kind of represents like at the end of a journey, where you're wanting to get to. They specifically grayed that out and they just made the pathway glow. They want you focusing not on end results, and I'm getting this weird ping like they're pointing to me as well. So like pointing at some of the things that I've struggled with. So you may have very similar things where, I was raised, especially in this culture but even from my parents, of to achieve or to succeed. And then after you do that a few times, maybe many times, you realize, oh, I've achieved and I'm still not happy. That it didn't fill this void that everyone told me it would. Like you may be just feeling kind of dissatisfied or defeated, or just checked out. You may not even be allowing your mind to consciously think about this, but it may just be that kind of gnawing feeling. I felt like when I was in your body, I was floating above, like in my head, my neck, and up. So I just wanted to kind of stay in that. Again, could represent screen time, where we're just kind of floating around in our minds and we're not in the body. Because when I moved the energy back down into the body, I felt anxiety. I felt like, oh, I don't know how to sit with this feeling. And so I pop into my head and I check out. I know this all too well, ladies and gentlemen. I can be a pro at this, and I can relate to anything I think I've ever said to anybody, because, we're all kind of multifaceted, right? And I've been through everything. So I will be the last person to judge any of you about the things that you're grappling with, because it's not easy. But there's a need to, because I'm seeing these steps. It's like baby steps, just day by day. And they were highlighting, they want to break things into small bits and simple steps. And they were asking, and I even wrote this down and put a big square around it, are you living each day to your fullest? Are you living each day so that you get to sleep and go, oh, wow, okay. They're showing me my journal, so you may benefit. I've been doing this for a long time because I needed it. At the end of every day, I write down my successes. And that sometimes is, I took out the trash. I woke up. I actually ate a meal and got through the day. Some days are like that. And then some days it's like, I did the dishes. Oh, and I thought about this project, or I spent 5 minutes on something. So every day is totally different. But I was having to retrain my mind in baby steps to start perceiving movement, and not big flashy movement, but baby steps, and then being able to look and see the progress that might benefit you as well. I'm happy to do a whole entire training on just the elaborate things that my guides have shown me, of how I have been using bullet journaling and just, regular kind of journaling to help rewire the mind. It can be very powerful. But anyway, so let's get back over. So they want you being in the moment. They want you taking baby steps. They don't want you worrying about, is something going to work out? Is this project going to be successful? Is this thing I want to try on or do going to get me to XYZ place? They don't want you worrying about that, because honestly, it's actually wise advice from them, because there is no getting there. There is only right now. And then, oops, now it's right now again. And now it's right now again. So somehow this is going to be pertinent and helpful for you. They did say something about engineering, so I don't know if one of you maybe has some kind of engineering background. And then also they mentioned, and I feel like this might be for another person, that there is a trial and error in gardening. And I have been through this myself. But they said it again twice. So when they repeat things, and then when they show me stuff in cards, it's like, oh, okay, yep. How many times do I need to be hit over the head? So there may be, maybe you tried gardening, maybe you need to garden. Grounding will be really good for you. But if let's just say we're going to use this as an example, as you tried to grow something this summer and it didn't work. Well, what is your mind making that mean? So, they specifically said trial and error, and they don't usually say it that way. They usually say trial and effort. So there may be something where your mind gets defeated more easily, or it just says, well, that was screwed up, and you can't see the benefit in it. Understandably, no one trained us to think this way. We tend to be pretty defeatist as humans, so you're in good company. But there was a need to reframe this. They also showed me that the area of life this week that was highlighted was actually your spiritual life. a little bit into your career, but your spiritual life, this section of your life, I see a grid that represents different parts of your life. It was highlighted and it was glowing in gray, and that's specifically the color for that section. And as I was making a note to write it down, I found myself writing number 7 and circling it. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing the number 7. I saw gray, but I distinctly felt like I was supposed to be writing the number 7 down. And I thought, well, we'll see. Maybe this will make some sense at some point. Then they were showing me, then they just started bringing me back around to this bunny situation and to people. So what I wrote down was pushing people away and isolating. So you may be going through a phase of that. Maybe you've had a lifetime of that where it's like, you know what, you're not too keen on people, or you've got a sort of a shy personality or coping mechanism. I've got several friends who are super shy, and I can be the biggest homebody there ever was. So again, welcome. But they showed, when I was in your body, I saw myself going to a party. They said again, boundaries in group. So I kept asking in my head, what is this group thing? What is it that you're struggling with? And they showed you, I was in your body, so I was you. And I walked in and I was actually wearing that box that I saw the bunny in. I think of bunnies as spring. I think of bunnies as life and movement, and they are fast and they are so soft and they just have life. You know, they breed like crazy. So they just have this like incredible regenerative life force. And they showed you actually taking this box with you into social situations. So let's say you're having some agoraphobia, or you're having some anxiety, social anxiety, or maybe it's just an actual group that you're struggling, that you've had issues with or something, and you're like, ugh, how do I even walk back into that? But think about what makes you feel safe. So a bunny is very vulnerable. It's vulnerable to predators. It tends to be on high alert, and they're showing me the ears right now. They're kind of helping me understand the rabbit as I'm talking. It has to stay very alert. And so I think when I saw that rabbit initially in a box, that was, I didn't really know what to make of it, but I think that was showing that way of feeling safe, because a rabbit wasn't moving. It was contained, but it wasn't moving. It was kind of stuck and pointed left. This time you, I think, as the bunny energy, is going into the world with that sensitivity and with that life force and with that high alertness that you may have. And maybe you're very hypervigilant and, kind of on guard for whatever your background may bring to the table, unless I'm reading you individually. And feel free to leave comments. I'm happy to try to address, individual questions, etc. But I feel like probably one of you is having some problems getting out. I don't like the word problem, but challenge getting out with people. Something about this. And they were showing me some moments in my life where I was really struggling. I'd been going through a lot, and then getting back out to being around people and trusting people again was the heart. Like I'd just break down crying if somebody asked me to go and do something. And I remember when my current boyfriend had asked me to come out and meet him for the first time. And I had been through hell and back before this. And I remember just crying, like this little girl part of me took over. And for a few days, it was just terror about going just to meet this person at a social gathering. And I finally had to, I did some, without going into a lot of detail, which of course I always want to go into because I absolutely love all this stuff. But I was working with this emotion, this like little girl aspect of me. And at one point I bribed her. I said, okay, how about, because there's like kind of two parts of me, the little girl that just wants to cry and run and never see another human. And then there's the wiser soul adult part of me. And they were dialoguing, I was talking to the little girl saying, hey, if you'll just go, if you'll literally just show up, you could turn around in 5 minutes and leave. But if you just show up, I'm going to get you this little treat that you've been wanting. And it just relaxed that part of me. And I was seeing similar things for you, what your little baby steps will be. Maybe that's why they're having me tell you that story. Maybe there's going to be something that you'll get from that specific tale. Maybe it's, okay, I'm going to go to whatever this thing is that's creating this angst, and I'm going to stay 20 minutes or less. Or I'm just going to go and turn around and come back. I'm going to go to the parking lot and then go home. However, all of us are at different places at different times in our life. Maybe there's a little bribe, a little treat if I go and do this. Maybe it's visualizing, all right, here's this box. This is my safety. And you can invite in whatever you're comfortable with. If you're already connected to your own guides or angels, whatever you believe, or just imagining this like light-filled box that is utter divine safety. Imagining that coming with you and seeing, oh, I'm going to go out into the world and I'm just going to practice wearing this invisible box of safety and just notice how I feel. The one thing that I would encourage probably above anything is just take 5 minutes every time you nudge yourself out of a comfort zone. And whoever's listening, you probably, every single person I know, myself included, we have things we're wanting to stretch, beyond our comfort zones with. We can do that for the rest of our lives. So maybe there's something in this for you as well, to kind of morph to your situation. I'm trying to think. Oh yes, they were showing me, sorry. Thank you for showing me again. So they just showed me again the 5-minute mark. 5 minutes, when you come back from stretching yourself out of a comfort zone and break it down into the tiniest little bit. Spend 5 minutes writing down your experience. How did my body feel? What kind of thoughts are going through my mind, like during that time, right now as I'm writing this? Are there any insights that I'm finding yet? You may not see insights right away. But I have done this so many times when I have been as stuck as a human being can be stuck. And I baby stepped my way out of it, because it may not seem after 5 days of doing this, 20 days of doing this, 3 or 4 months of doing this, but it will snowball. They're showing me that it's like a coil, and it's just like it spirals faster and faster. And these little baby steps aren't baby at all. At all. If we are in a stuck space, in whatever area, maybe it's a career thing, maybe it's just in general, you're just feeling like, what's the freaking point? A lot of people are voicing that for me in private sessions and just in my life, and just noticing online that, there's a lot of triggers coming up for everyone. So let's just, again, let me talk about the cards, because it's always hysterical. If you watched any of the previous cards, the previous videos, I read first, then I am told specifically what cards to pull from the deck, like literally telling me how many more times to shuffle, where to pull the card from, the top, the bottom, the middle, etc. And it's kind of a riot. It's challenging what you're going through. Somebody is going through something tough, and you're needing encouragement, and reach out if you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. We've got the failure, the card that tends to represent when we're feeling like, nothing's working out. The current energy is just like, things I want aren't happening. I can't even bring my mind to think about these things or look at these things or even know how to correct them or how to get myself out of this rut. I just want to start an endless Netflix series and just wait till my life's over, sort of a thing, and not preemptive, we're not trying to shorten the life, but I'm just talking about how sometimes all of us want to just can we just spend days under the covers and just pray that this goes away. So I feel like there's something kind of heavy going on. Remember, because they're reminding me right now, as my guides have said, and this may be annoying in the moment, but I'm going to say it anyway because we need to hear it repeatedly. The only problem in the entire universe is a perspective problem. Your mind, when there's external things going on, or when you've had a long pattern of stuckness, it's easy to say, well, it's just my life. It's how it's always going to go. It's how the world's always going to respond to me, or it's how things are going to play out. And it's not ever the case, but the mind is such a con artist, and it is so good at convincing us into its craziness. And all of us, believe our minds. But as my guides repeatedly tell me, this is why I do a ton of belief work and shadow work in my personal life, and I have for decades, is just that reminder that it is a thought, a perspective about ourselves, about a situation, about our life, about people, that is the thing that brings us pain, not the thing itself or the people themselves. Now, you may be going, you got to be kidding, sister, like that is not my life experience. I think you are wrong. Post it. I will happily have a little discussion, and maybe we can share some things back and forth that might help. But what's interesting is, what were we saying? I was being told immediately that there's boundaries in groups. Boundaries, meaning I think safety in groups, knowing how to keep yourself intact in groups, not to feel like, you're absorbing everybody's energy, not feeling like you're self-conscious or berating yourself or feeling overly sensitive, not, whatever your flavor of social discomfort is. But what do we have in the subconscious behind the scenes position? We've got the friends card, the people coming together and actually having a good time. And listen, deep down, I'm a Scorpio. If I could just get away with it, I would just be a hermit forever. I totally get this. I really, really do. But that's not how we're meant to live. And it's so beautiful, because what they're showing me is that there's support there, but you may have just walled off from remembering that or realizing that or being open to it. The advice for you this week is you got the Five of Pentacles reversed. That for me is these two people are usually down and out, and they've got this spiritual center, something that's got beauty and warmth and food and shelter in it, and they keep choosing to walk past it. And this is upside down. This is, for me, in this reading especially, it is coming out of the cold, going, you know what? All right, I've been homeless. My legs all busted up. I've got my crutches here. Things have been pretty shit for a long time, and I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try to baby step, like this annoying chick is saying on this video, and I'm going to try to just look up at the stained glass. I'm going to try just knocking on the door to see if anybody's home. I'm just going to try baby step until you're in the chapel. I guess it's a church. I'm not a religious person, but this sacred environment that is so wanting to love and support you. And they're showing me a globe. So it's like the world wants to support you, but we inadvertently get in our own way and we don't even realize it. It's just the way the human mind works. So the beauty is there's no problem here. You will feel like there's a problem. It's feeling, but the reality is there is so much here to offer you, and you absolutely, because they're showing me that if you can get yourself just taking some little baby steps and being patient, even though your mind may go, no, I have to rush, no, things are terrible, if you can just breathe and just trust and keep taking little bits and actions, you may find that you're like, sprinting a marathon before you even know it. Maybe literally too, I don't know. I doubt it. But getting momentum faster than you think. And trust me, I have been there. Here's the fascinating thing. They had me bring this deck, because I'm not in my office right now. And they had me bring this deck with me like 5 days ago. And I'm like, okay, I try to do what they tell me. And it's a deck that I have actually never used with anybody, just except for myself. And hopefully the glare isn't too bad on it. But it's Venus, which is love and connection and sensuality. So maybe this is linked to relationships, love relationships, friendships. But it's reversed, and it says love and abundance. And notice the number 25. 25 added together is 7, which is the weird number that for some reason was dropped into my little brain that I have scribbled on this piece of paper that I'm looking at. And it's interesting. I think if I were to go back and watch the last videos, I know at least 2 of them, there were these repeating 7s I saw. And for me, right now, 7s are those in between where you're like halfway through. Let's imagine kind of the journey of life. The hero's journey is like from 1 to 10, and then we repeat a pattern. We kind of start over again, and then we take on another challenge. We're past the 5, so you've done great. You've survived through like halfway through a journey. Kick ass. Well done. And then the 7 is like that. You are actually well into. You're getting so close to the finish of this cycle where you get to click up to the next cycle and things just kind of get better and better and better. You're getting so far along in that second leg of the game. And this is when, because I've felt the same energy for the last like 4 readings. When you get to the 7, it's like, ugh. It's like another challenge that you have to. I'm seeing a mountain and somebody hiking it. So it's like you got to hike this mountain, and then it's a little bit more smooth sailing with the 8s and the 9s, and then you can really relax in the 10s and start all over. If that makes any sense. They have been showing me 7s every single freaking reading, and I'm not really into astrology. If they drop those things into my head, I'll try to pay my best to pay attention, but I don't normally pay attention to those things. I don't really personally resonate with numerology, but they're showing it to me in a new way. And there is something about this. And every time I've felt the same thing, I don't in some ways even have a definition of 7s. It's not like I even talk about this unless they show it to me. But I have felt for weeks now that there is a challenge that you need to know you are well on your way. You are not behind the way you think. And even if you're kind of numbing out or taking a bit of a breather, or you're Netflixing your way into oblivion, it's temporary. They're showing me a plateau. It's a plateau. Nothing has gone backwards, truly. You are just being up-leveled, and sometimes that requires us being different and thinking differently and trying things and doing things in a new way. So it's beautiful that this oracle card is here, and honest to God, it feels like it's already upright because as I'm staring at it, it keeps flipping for me. But I think you are feeling like a little defeated, like, ugh, I don't have love and abundance. No, you actually do. I mean, they're showing me with the 3 of Cups card. It's literally here for the taking. I do understand, because I always hear like the devil's advocate talk in my head of like what people may be thinking, literally or just figuratively, of like, ugh, yeah, easier said than done. You don't know what XYZ. I don't know why I've been saying XYZ a lot lately, but you don't know all these like blah, 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 blah scenarios that I've been through. Well, trust me, you might be surprised at how much I can relate. But they've got the Tower here, and it feels like 2 things. It's they want you to, they want to get you moving again, getting into motion, taking baby steps, and trusting, because they're showing me again when I was first in your body and I was up in my head, and then I shifted my focus down into my body, and I'm like, well, no wonder you're up in your head, because I felt kind of really anxious, really uncomfortable in my skin. Remember, those are just physical sensations. They are the byproduct of how your body is responding to a belief system that's just lurking underneath the ground that's trying to bubble up to the surface so it can be looked at and healed and addressed in a new way. Nothing bad is going on. The only thing that's challenging is if we keep running from it, because life will, the cascade of crap will just escalate. And they're wanting to, like, this whole thing, and it may be that there's aspects, because I feel like I'm plugging in deeper and deeper each week, perhaps to a specific person, hopefully to a whole bunch of you, but it may be a running theme. I feel like this little tail end of that, but I can't grab onto the energy of it clearly enough. So maybe you can give me some feedback on that. If you're like, yeah, there's something about what you've been saying that's kind of resonating, because I feel like today I'm in your skin. I feel the most connected to a specific group or person today, which is honestly what I love, because it's such an amazing way to get to know somebody and to just really appreciate what you're going through. But they're wanting to prevent, to keep you from having to deal with, maybe you've already been through a tower moment. Maybe that's what you're kind of coming out of, and that's why you're like, oh hell no, I'm done with people and all this other whatever. But the baby steps will keep that from happening again. It's like your fears don't have to. I wish I could talk to you right now, because it'd be so fascinating to get your feedback, because it's like I can feel something bubbling up. There's something that wants to come up around that tower card. Hold on, I just want to think about this for a second. I'm wondering if for at least one of you that you have just come through a tower moment, because they're saying baseline. And for me, how I interpret that word is like, well, here's where you're starting from. You're starting from like kind of ground zero of the tower already happening. So maybe you've been through a breakup, maybe you've been through a job loss, an illness, a family catastrophe, or you're in a country, or you're just dealing, if you're in the West, if you're an American, that's a whole, tower moment in itself. So feel free again to leave some comments, but they keep drawing me back over to, and they're spinning cards for me, that the very first card, that failure card, they keep spinning for me. You are actually not in any kind of failure. You're in an up-leveling where they're wanting to, and they did say, and I even kind of gagged in my mind. I'm like, they're never going to want me to say this freaking word. But I wrote down gratitude. And I will say it's something that everybody gives lip service to. I mean, even my guides have to constantly be saying, Stephanie, they don't talk to me in that tone, but they call me out on things like, hey, you need to shift into that energy of gratitude. And it's really hard to remember to do. So that may also be another one of those baby steps where maybe you write down your successes for the day, and then you write 3 things that you're grateful for. And that becomes a daily ritual. And you can add to it. Like I've added to things over time. But you want to start small and consistent. And I'm showing 5 minutes. So chunk little goals into 5 minutes. And see where that gets you, because this is actually good and you're not perceiving it as good, but I understand why. It would be very hard for most people to, but from a spiritual perspective, we just want to get you to break that they're showing me this like what's this feeling? There's like this illusion, but it's not the word I'm looking for. It's this myth that we've been handed, that there's this place we're going to get to, or we're going to achieve this, or we're going to look this way, or we're going to have this partner, or we're going to have this amount of money, and this is when everything's great. Nope, that does not exist at all. It's a moment by moment thing. And you can gift yourself 5 minutes of awesome every day. Even if it's just 5 minutes of a little bit better than you've been feeling, a little bit better and a little bit better. Shoot, they're bringing me back to that because I don't think I finished a thought. That kind of floating thing. Yeah, and they want you to realize that it's retraining your mind to like you're like this would be anticlimactic to tell it to some people, so I don't know where exactly you're at in your, and just toss anything I say that doesn't feel helpful. But oh, and I just lost my train of thought, and that only happens whenever it's like onto something really important. Hopefully I won't have to stop the video and go find out. Shoot, what was I saying? If I remember, I'll put it into the notes. Oh, this happens to me all the time. It happens with clients too. It's like, ugh. And now I'm feeling the pressure because I can tell that I've been on here for a while and I don't want to keep you. I just am asking them in my mind to try to bring me back onto that last point. Yeah, they're showing me that elusiveness again. All right, and being in the present moment, step by step. Oh, thank you. So our goal is, what we've been trained to is that there's this end result, and our whole culture feeds us this load of garbage. And we want to ideally say, hey, my life goal is to feel better. You know, just that. Because that's really why we chase all these things anyway, thinking we're going to feel better, because all the media and all the advertisements and all the fairy tales and blah, 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 and all the crazy movie stars with crazy plastic surgery and whatever, like, you know, the Kardashians of the world are kind of supporting that myth. And you can have everything right now. It doesn't even have to wait, but you may not feel that right now. I don't expect that. Don't beat yourself up if you don't. But what you think you're looking for is way closer. It's kind of right under your feet, but your mind just keeps carrying you away into, you know, away from dropping in. Maybe meditation is one of those baby steps. 10 minutes in the morning when you wake up, and then who cares what the hell you do with the rest of your day? Just pick your thing and just try to work it in, and don't beat yourself up if you don't, and mark it down, and just see if you can build on that. Because beautiful things will come as you, because I keep seeing this spiral that just, it like starts kind of slow and then it brum, and it shoots off to my right. It's done that several times. I don't have my hands in the camera right now. My hands look a mess, but I've been doing that. I've been making this little spiral with my hands. I talk with my hands a ton. So I don't know if any of this makes sense, but explore what do boundaries mean for you? How can you bring safety into groups, into, it may be family, it may be a church, it may be a club, it may be just going to the grocery store. I don't know. Maybe it's friends, maybe it's just society in general. Maybe it's a partner, I don't know, but it felt like groups of people. Boundaries in groups. How can you have more boundaries? Where are you struggling with boundaries? Even 5 minutes of journaling about that might start to open up and drop you into your body to explore that. And again, remember, the emotions that we all run from, humanity does this entirely, are just sensations. There is nothing scary about them. They just feel different. They feel different than numb. They feel different than joy. They just make the body do things, tightness or buzzing or heat or whatever, you know, depends on the trigger. And it's just a sensation. And we just want to train our minds to stop going, oh no, something terrible is going on, and then spinning these circles, because it's like you probably have a whole bunch of stories that your mind has been spinning that are just making this harder. All of our brains do this. And if we can just kind of bring you back, and you know, every week, I won't be surprised if your energy doesn't show up next week, whatever collective is going on here, or person or whatever. But definitely let me know if there's anything that's resonating, anything that doesn't, any questions you have, any, you know, maybe any topics that you want me to cover. share away. I would flip to hear from you guys. And if you want to subscribe, I would be so endlessly thrilled to have you hanging out in my little corner of the universe. So you're in a better place than you think. There's really good things trying to happen here. The worst is over. Yeah, I feel like that's maybe like the final thing I needed to say with that tarot card. The worst is over. So, let me know what baby steps you take on, and I'm going to be rooting for you this week, and I'm very excited to see what happens next week. All right, tons of love to you. Bye now.